Hey, this is Joe with SoFly, and in this video, we are going to import WooCommerce products from CSV into WooCommerce using WPL import and the WooCommerce add-on. So you can see here, I don't have any products yet. Need to import them. So to do that, to get started, we're going to go down here to All Import and select New Import. Then I have three options. First, I can use an existing file that I've previously uploaded into WPL import. I can download a file from a URL like Google Drive or Dropbox or another server or something. Or if it's on an FTP server or SFTP server, I would set that up here. In this case, we're uploading a file from my computer. So we'll select that. And here's the file. So let's open it up and take a peek. We have a bunch of columns here with our product title name, the SKU, we have the product brand, some category information, the stock, our product price, and then we have size and color. So these are going to be variable products, which means all of these products that you see here, these are all going to actually be one product. And these right here are going to be the product variations. And then we have our images. So we have one image for each product and color. So right here, the shirt, all these blue shirts, they're the same product, and they're all going to use the same image because we're going to need images for the different sizes, right? So we have extra small, small, medium, large, all those blue shirts and those different sizes are going to use the same image. So we have a bunch of different data going on in here, and WPL import is going to help us make sense of it. We're going to upload our file. And now we have two options. We can try and match this to existing products on our site, but in this case, we're importing new items. So we're just going to import new items here, and then we're going to create new drop-down products. So we're going to create new WooCommerce products for each record in my data file. All right, so everything here looks good. Now I'm going to continue to step 2. All right, so WPL import has detected 2,775 rows. Each row, you can see here, this is a row. This is going to be a product variation. Now I have multiple product variations per product, so I'm not going to end up with 2,775 products over here in the WooCommerce All Products tab. I'm going to end up with 105. And the rest of these are going to be the product variations, right? Like these are all here, the same product. You can see that from the product title. They're just different variations of the same product. So everything here looks good. We'll scroll down. And we have some filtering options. Now I can decide if I want to import just a subset of these products up here, like if I only wanted to import the green shirts or something like that. In this case, I want to make sure that I'm only importing products with a stock greater than 0. I don't want products on my site that are already out of stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select stock. So the element is going to be stock and the rule is going to be greater than 0. So I'm going to add my rule. You can see my rules down here. And then I'm going to click Apply Filters to XPath. And this is going to be my XPath statement that determines what products can import. And we can see over here, we went from 2,775 products down to 2,665. So a little low, like what is that, 110 of these things? We're out of stock. We're not going to waste time importing those, filling our site with out-of-stock products. If you know what XPath is, you can write a custom XPath statement here and do all sorts of crazy stuff because under the hood, what WPL import is doing is it's converting the CSV into an XML file. So it can do the import processing. That's cool because we can do some custom XPath statements if we need to. If you don't know what XPath is, don't worry. You absolutely don't need to know what it is. WPL import is going to take care of all of this under the hood. All right, so everything on this page looks good to me. So I'm going to continue to step 3. All right, now this is where the magic happens. So here on the left, this kind of represents one WooCommerce product, right? You can think about this as a template for my WooCommerce product that's going to get stamped out into every product that it's importing. Over here on the right, we have our import data, product title and everything from our file. What we're going to do is drag and drop the data from here on the right into the left to build our product template. All right, so let's start with product title. Looks good to me. Down here, we have our content. I don't actually have any content in this file, so I'm going to leave this blank. Same with the short description, the excerpt. I don't have one of those in my file, so I can just leave that blank. Advanced options, some pretty simple stuff, mostly to do here with the content area. For example, a lot of folks' content, it's kind of a big, huge like section of content with a bunch of HTML and stuff like that. So it can be a little bit tricky. So if you want to, you can enable this if you're having some problems with the HTML in there, and it'll kind of clean it up for you. In this case, I don't have any of that. So I'm just going to leave that. default. And then down here, we have the WooCommerce add-on section. So this is going to determine all of the WooCommerce specific stuff, right? Up here, product type, I'm going to select variable product because these are variable products. They have different sizes and colors. There's variations, right? Product variations. And then just going down. So we have our SKU. So we're going to drag in our SKU and our regular price. Just drag in our price over here. And then we have the sale price. Now I don't have a sale price in my file, but I want to have a sale price. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag over my one price over here that I have, and then I'm going to adjust prices. Okay. Now the way this works is this is going to let me mark prices up or down. And what I want to do is I want to take my sale price and I want it to be marked down by 10%. So I'm going to say my sale price is going to be 90% of my regular price. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. So you can see here, I'm using the same price right here for both my regular and my sale price. My sale price is going to be marked down. If I wanted to, I could artificially increase my regular price. So now it looks like my MSRP is higher, my sale price is lower, right? Pretty sneaky. So this product is actually retails for $19.99. I get 20% commission. I'm going to pass off a 10% commission to my 10% discount to my users, take a 10% hit on my commissions, but hope I can beat my competitors. And then it'll be a little bit sneaky, and I'm going to pretend like the prices are a little bit higher to start with. So we're just going to do that over there. Down here, we have some options to kind of help. Sometimes the data over here that we're trying to import, the pricing data, is all bizarre and super weird. Like sometimes the currency symbols in there, WooCommerce doesn't want the currency symbols. So then down here, the decimal separator. So when we're importing, we need to use that period as our decimal separator for WPL import. You can change that in your WooCommerce settings. In this case, what we're doing is WPL import with this feature enabled by default. WPL import is just going to convert everything for you to try and get it to work. If you're having some problems or if your data is a little bit weird, you can go in here and change it around. And then attempt to convert incorrectly formatted prices to the WooCommerce format. This feature is a little bit intense. What it's going to do is do some magic under the hood. If you're having problems with your prices importing correctly, you can try enabling this and seeing if the WPL import magic is going to work for you. In this case, my pricing information is correctly formatted. All the defaults are going to work. We can see that here from the preview. So I'm just going to leave it with the defaults. Moving along, I do not have a variation description, so I can just leave that. These products are not virtual. They're not downloadable. The tax status and tax class, just going to leave these as standard. If you have some custom stuff set up in WooCommerce, WPL import is going to detect all of that and show that information for you here so you can import your tax stuff correctly. In my case, I don't have any of that going on. Okay, so general is done. Inventory tab. So this is going to do with our stock management. So manage stock. Yes, I'm going to manage the stock, and we can see that I have my stock information here, right? So manage stock. Yes. Stock quantity. I'm going to drag that over. Low stock threshold. I'm going to set that at 3. So that means if my products have a stock lower than 3, they're going to be tagged as low in stock. You can set this to whatever you want, leave it blank, up to you. In stock status. So in stock or out of stock. I have the stock information here, right? So I know exactly how many of these units are in stock. If I didn't, I could just say, hey, you know what? They're all in stock. And then no, this is going to matter. Or what I'm going to do is leave these as set automatically and let WPL import take care of it. We actually filtered out all of the things that aren't in stock, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to leave it like this. And if I happen to run this import later again with a new data set, it'll keep this updated, right? If for some reason later on I decide to run the import with the out of stock stuff, the out of stock stuff will show up and it'll just say it's out of stock. Allow back orders. No back orders for me, sold individually. We're going to leave that with the default settings. Moving along, shipping. Going to leave this with all the defaults. I don't have my shipping set up in my WooCommerce store, but if you did have it set up, all your shipping classes are going to show up here. If you have the product weight and dimensions, you can put that in here, or you can just hard code it. These are all closed, so I can just say they all weigh half a kilo, and I can put the product dimensions in here and hard code it if I needed to for my shipping solution. In this case, I don't care. So I'm just going to leave it blank. Linked products. So WooCommerce supports upsells and cross sells. And we can have some matching. So if I had, for example, a bunch of accessories that I wanted to include, and on, this certain brand of like B Hills, if they also had like shoes or something like that, I could create another CSV that kind of links all this data together and then run the import and get my, when somebody's checking out this long sleeve shirt here, I could have my upsells tag or my upsells section, my cross sells section on the front end of my site, appropriately cross sell based on the products listed in my file. Pretty cool stuff. I don't have anything like this set up for my import that I'm doing now, so I'm going to leave it blank, but this is pretty powerful if you're running a store. Moving along, we're going to go to the attributes tab, and this one's super important, right? And this is going to play into with our variations. So over here, we're going to define what about our variations, what product attributes do we have that set the variations apart. In our case, we have size and color. So I'm going to set up size first, and then we're going to drag over size over here to values. Like so. We're going to add an attribute for color. We're going to drag this one over. Right. Okay. So now I have my attributes set up for size and color. If I wanted to get kind of weird about exactly how these product attributes are represented in the WooCommerce backend, I could play with that over here. I don't care. Just going to use the defaults. Link all variations. This would be useful for me so for example, here I have all my product variations, each in a different row, right? Different size, different color. Instead, some of the data out there that you're going to see is going to be a single row for this whole product. And the size is just going to be a comma delimited list of all the sizes. Because a small, comma medium, comma large, colors, blue, comma red, comma green. One row for all the product variations for that specific product. If that were the case, I would do everything right here exactly the same. And then I would just select link all variations. Then during the import, WPL import is going to say, okay, so we have 3 sizes, 3 colors, 3 times 3 is 9. We need 9 products here. Bing, bang, boom. All the variations are done. In my case, again, 1 row per product variation. So we're going to leave this unchecked. Now, finally, the important part, we're going to go to variations, and we're going to tell WPL import how our product variations are set up in our file. So if you go here and select all of these, like all my variable products have SKUs or some other unique identifier, each variation is linked to its parent SKU or other identifier. And then we have an image here of what the data might look like. Now, what you have to understand about WooCommerce variable products, but the way they do it under the hood is it's going to look like this after this import is complete. No matter how your data looks, this product has 2 product variations, right? It has 2 colors, that's orange and yellow. Under the hood, WooCommerce is going to make 3 products. It's going to make what's called a parent product, which is going to have parent SKU, product title, and basically all the main product information. And then it's going to create more products in the database for each variation. So you're going to have a parent product and then product variations. And you're going to come across data, if you do some WooCommerce imports often enough, you're going to come across data that's actually formatted like this, where it has a parent product and then the variations are all in their own separate row. I don't find this particularly human readable. This is kind of the more common format you're going to see where there are no parent products in the data, right? And here, all the products are going to have the same title. So this is kind of the most common format you're going to use and the easiest one to kind of wrap your head around when you're looking at the file itself. So that's going to be this one right here, right? All the variations for a particular product have the same title and there are no parent products, right? If I had parent products, my file would look like this. 3 variations, 1 parent product, but they don't look like this. So I'm going to take a look at this list and figure out, okay, which one of these options most closely matches my product setup in my data. In this case, it's this guy. We need the product title and parent SKU. So product title, drag that over, and the parent SKU. In this case, the parent SKU is just going to be the SKU of the first variation, which is okay with me. Drag that over. Done. And we can leave this empty to use the SKU settings from the general tab if we wanted to. WPL import's pretty smart. So you can put the SKU in both and it'll just kind of figure it out. And that's okay. So this looks good to me. All these variations are going to get appropriately imported. Manage stock. Yes, stock quantity. We'll drag that over. Again, we have this in two different spots here. Sometimes the reason we have this is sometimes the stock information is only going to be on the parent product side and not for the other ones. So in this case, we're just going to put it in both and let WPL import sort it out. Stock quantity for the variations is going to be over there. Stock status, again, set automatically. And we're just going to leave all of these with the default settings. Perfect. Okay, moving right along, images. So I have right here a row with an image URL. And this image URL is going to be, it's for the product and the color, right? So extra small, medium, large, etc. These all have the same image because they have the same color. They're the same product. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to drag this over here, right? Because we want the images to be downloaded. So we're going to download images hosted elsewhere, right? Drag that in. We have other options here. So if the images were already in the media library, we could try and match them with data from our file, or we can upload all of these images manually into our WP content folder and upload /WPL import /files and then match them. But in this case, we're going to download images elsewhere. For image options, right? We're going to search through the media library for existing images before importing new images. Now, because we have the same image being reused multiple times, we don't want to be downloading that same image over and over and over again every time that it's used in our products, right? So if this product is being used for the large version, use the same image for the extra large version, and it's going to match them by URL. Instead, we could match them by file name. If, for example, the URL was going to change, file name would be the same for different products. It just depends on how your URLs are set up. For me, match image by URL is fine. We're going to keep the images currently in the media library. We would use this in certain cases. What might happen is if you're running the import multiple times, the image URL and file name might stay the same, but the image itself might change. So in that case, every time you run the import, you just want to delete the images that used to be on the product and then re-import them because we don't know if they changed or not. This option here, scan through the post content and import images wrapped in image tags. So sometimes up here in our post content, if we were importing this and we had images inside of there, when we run the import, it's just going to import the text, right? And then there might be image tags, and those image tags are going to load the images on the front end of our site for the product. They're going to load the images from whatever the URL was that we imported. So we're going to be hot linking those images from another site, which means that we don't have any control. If that site goes down or they delete the image, now our data is all messed up, right? They also probably aren't going to appreciate that we're hot linking images. So what I could do is enable this if I had images in my content, and then WPL import is going to say, hey, cool, we got an image. Let's download the image, throw it in the media library, update the link in the content. And then when that content loads on the front end, it's all going to look and function exactly the same. The only difference is that that image is going to be loaded from our own site rather than being hot linked out. In this case, again, I don't have any content with images in it. So I'm just going to leave this unchecked. That doesn't matter. Set the first image to the featured image. Sounds good. In that case, it's going to be using for this product here, the B Hills long sleeve shirt. It's going to be using the first image. So it's going to be blue. That's okay with me. Down here, we have some SEO options for the images. Everyone loves some alt text. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, there you go. Right, so my alt text is going to be product name and color. We can do that also here for the color, for the title. And I can just copy and paste this text and WPL import is going to figure that out. If I needed to change the file names for some reason, I can do that. Don't need to. Custom fields, moving right along. We don't have any custom fields here, but if I wanted to add some, I definitely could. For example, I can just add a custom field like gender and then drag over that. And then maybe my site wants to do something with this metadata. Up to you, whatever you want to do. Advanced custom fields. If I was using advanced custom fields on the site, all my stuff would show up in here. I just have this enabled. I'm not using any ACF data here for these products, so I'll leave it to open the tab. Categories and tags. This is a big one. So I want to do some cool stuff with my categories. I have all this data here and I want to use it appropriately. I want to make something like some hierarchical categories, right? So on my site, I have like my categories have men's and women's clothing, and then, organized with the category, like with the type, like, tops, shirts, skirts, dresses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with a whole hierarchy in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say products have hierarchical product categories right there. And what I'll do is I'm going to manually design the hierarchy with drag and drop, because I don't have a field. I don't have a row in here that looks like this, or a column. I mean, if I had a column that just had all of the hierarchy information in there, I could just drag that in there, but I don't. We're going to do it manually. So I'm going to drag and drop women's or gender here as my top level, and then type for the secondary, right? So then when on my product, I'll have women's tops, and I want another row. And then I'm just going to drag this in a little bit. So now it's a child of type and the category, right? So now we have gender, type, category as a hierarchy. Nice and easy, pretty simple. Also brand, but brand doesn't really belong in that to me. I think that's more of a tag, right? So each product has just one tag, fine with me, and we'll drag in the brand. So then we can basically, on our site, we have some tools here so we can say, okay, let's show me all the products by this brand, or all the women's shirts and stuff like that. Pretty easy to use this and kind of do whatever you need to do with your product categories and tags. All right, so this is all set up. And now we have some product options. Down here, some kind of advanced stuff. I don't need to use any of this. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Like you can schedule posts by putting the date in the future or something like that, and set the post status, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just going to leave all this blank. All right, down here we have our function editor. So each one of these fields that you see here, anywhere you can type in text, you can put in custom PHP files. We can process this data with custom PHP. For example, we could go over here to our pricing section, and right here we're using this kind of easy adjust prices. But if we wanted to get a little weird with it, we can write a custom function that processes the pricing and does some whatever we need to do, right? Some pretty interesting stuff. We would just write our function down here and then wrap this data in the function, and it'd spit it out. If you check the description below, we have a link to a video about custom functions, and we have some documentation on our site, also linked in the description, to describe the custom functions in a bit more detail. In this case, I don't need to do anything, so I'm just going to leave this blank, but this is super powerful. If you know PHP, you can do tons of cool stuff. But again, you don't need to use PHP if you don't know how to use it. All right, so everything here in my import looks like it's good to go. So I'm going to continue to step 4. So we're going to auto detect the unique identifier. We need something right here that is unique, like the SKU. 99 times out of 100, you can just click auto detect. In this case, it picked product title, SKU, size, and color. And that is exactly what I would think as a human, what the unique identifier should be. So well done. We're just going to leave that as the default. Down here, all of these settings, they all just have to do with what to do when this import file is run again. I'm just running this file once. If you were going to run this on a schedule and this import file is being uploaded from a URL, and that's going to update every week with all our unique product data and stuff like that, then okay, so we might go in here and we might play with some of these settings so that our product data gets set up correctly. If that's what you're doing, if you're going to be running this import on a schedule and running it multiple times, check out the description below. We have a link to a video specifically about scheduled imports. In this case, we're going to leave all this with the defaults. Same here with the advanced settings, just going to leave this as the defaults. This is more for if you like these settings here, import speed optimization. I would recommend leaving these. And then if you have problems with your server terminated the import process because it takes too long, then you can kind of play around with these. In this case, we're going with the defaults. Yeah. All right. So we're going to continue here. Everything looks good. Now we are going to confirm and run the import. And this is going to take a few minutes. I have to download all of the images, set up like 2,600 something products. So we'll let this run for a few minutes. We'll come back when it's finished and go from there. All right, so that didn't take too long, and all of our products have been successfully imported. Let's check them out. All right, so everything looks pretty good here. And our categories have all come in correctly. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. All right. And let's select medium over here and green. And we have 23 in stock. 3 red in stock. Product variations are in there, and we can see all of our pricing information came in correctly. Everything looks good. So that is all it takes to import variable WooCommerce products into WooCommerce using WPL import and the WooCommerce add-on. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.